What's up, guys? It's King Tut from Ronald, Rohde Law, and today's video we're going to do a lawyer reacts on Tiffany Gomas, also known as the "that guy is not real" crazy airplane lady. All right, so if you haven't had internet over the summer, then you probably missed out on this crazy lady. She was all over the internet. Woman actually from Dallas, Texas, my hometown. And she was on an airplane. She was recorded wanting to get off of an airplane.
Getting the fuck off because this motherfucker back there is not real.
This was an American Airlines flight from DFW to Orlando. They hadn't taken off yet, but she was on the back of the plane. And at first, she accused her family member of stealing some AirPods. But the viral scene that she was so famous for was she was standing at the front and she says, "That mother effer is not real." And it just triggered all sorts of speculation about lizard people. We've got different shapeshifters. There's a guy in a hoodie. So there's a lot of speculation about what did she see? What happened on the back of that plane that made her so upset? You could tell. I mean, this woman was visibly upset. She caused such a disturbance that the plane had to taxi back to the gate, and she eventually deplaned. She said, "I am not going on this plane. You guys can all die, but I am getting off of this plane." A lot more swear words, but you get the point. And so what I'm going to try to show you as a lawyer is, did she commit any crimes? Did she break any federal law? And there's typically two areas of compliance with the FAA, and that is interference with a federal crew member as well as an assault. So let's start with the assault, and that obviously is a battery, is an unlawful touching, or it could be a fear of imminent contact. That's the legal textbook definition of assault. There's some certain criminal enhancements for the use of a deadly weapon. And in this case, I don't think that's the situation at all. In all of the video that we've seen, you don't see her in contact with any flight crew members. She is not pushing anybody. She's not shoving. And so that one is probably off. The second one is interfering with a crew member. This one is a lot more common. If you saw my other video on Odell Beckham, you know, that's something that he was potentially facing, which was interfering with a crew member. If they give you instructions such as to sit down, to stand up, to move over, you have a duty to comply with those instructions. Now, it's not as black and white of if they say, you know, put your finger on your nose and hop up and down on one foot. When you don't do that immediately, straight to jail, right to jail. No, that's not the case. And so again, in our footage, there is a little bit of direction we can hear in the background, but it's not clear that she repeatedly disobeyed instructions from a flight attendant. She wasn't blocking them. You know, the plane was almost back at the gate. And I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely had situations where people need to go to the restroom or they're just in a hurry to get off the plane. And almost as it's taxiing, they get up and they start walking while the plane is still moving. These people are not going to jail. They're not facing civil fines. Even if the flight attendant pipes up and says, "Hey, please take your seat," they will just keep walking, and then the plane stops and you know, they allow them to disembark. She's making the rounds as the awesome meme for Halloween costume, and she even posted it on Instagram. But what's really interesting is that she has kind of rebranded herself after this incident, and she has apologized. There's a short video where she kind of talks about what happened in her own perspective, right? She really only talks about her own mental state. She was clearly distressed. They ask her, though, you know, would you still get off the plane? And she doesn't hesitate. 100%. She didn't want to be on that plane. So it still is really interesting. She hasn't told us what she saw. She didn't tell us exactly what prompted this whole episode, or, you know, clearly she was in some distress. She was never tested for alcohol. She was never tested for other drugs in her system. So I think that's kind of interesting that the police, when they did meet her in the terminal after she got off the plane, they did not think that she was that intoxicated or under the influence of any drugs such that they would test her. Ultimately, she was just charged with like a very plain Jane criminal trespass from the airport, which is, you know, basically leave the airport and you've got to coordinate if you ever want to fly again. There is one incident where she allegedly pushed somebody in the terminal. She was actually never actually charged with that. I think they did take a police report. There's a little bit of footage about that. This whole episode has really kind of resulted in a question mark. We don't know what she saw. We don't know what prompted this whole thing, but That's it for this Lawyer Reacts and an update on Tiffany Gomas, the crazy airplane lady.